30 days, 50,000 acres. 5 trailers. Rookie pilots. We're filming it all. The good, the bad, the ugly. These stories never told before.
I've never seen anybody get this much acres done that fast.
This is the real life of a spray drone pilot.
Every time you change a battery, you got to go in and turn it on again.
The update is not a good one.
It didn't do too bad. I was afraid it would really struggle, but it did not do bad.
Not showing out properly.
I have to go to Indiana. I have to talk to the guys face to face, and I'm just thinking, like, this is totally not what I was expecting. Only 2 weeks into the season, giving them this news. I don't want to do it over the phone. I've already sent a couple teams home over the phone, and it just didn't feel right. I got to fly out there and let them know exactly how I feel about it.
I was pretty thrown off whenever Mike called and said that they were sending me home. Yeah, I just talked to Wade. From the way he sounded, he was hopeful. I don't know if there really wasn't many acres that came in after that.
It's hard to say how I felt going there because I wasn't expecting this at all. It was like we were told we're going to have this many acres to do, and if I was comparing it to the season before, it was like it didn't matter what I was doing the season before, I could never catch up with the acres. And so I prepped us this season for Indiana to just rip and roar. Had plenty of guys, plenty of drones, plenty of trailers, and not even 2 weeks into it, things are starting to fall apart. To go out there and tell the guys that they're gonna have to go home, it's just hard to say. Like, what I actually felt like, it kind of sucks.
Let's stick with earnings. Deere has slashed its annual profit thanks to lower crop prices and slumping demand for equipment.
And those lower crop prices continue to weigh right now on producers. USDA will provide an updated 2024 financial forecast next month. Ag Economist Monthly Monitor shows the majority of ag economists expect a further deterioration in crop prices to weigh on the overall net farm income picture, forcing the agency to revise their forecast lower.
This season was bad for everyone in the industry. Airplanes, helicopters, ground rigs, drone guys, all across the country. It was just a bad season. There was areas that were too dry. There were areas where the commodity prices were so low that the farmers weren't going to spend that extra few dollars to get their stuff sprayed. They just weren't going to do it. It was not because of the drones having efficiency issues or that. It was just a bad year, period. That's it. It's not going to be like this. It's only going up from here. That's the exciting part about this whole thing, is if you were able to pull through the 2024 season and you invested a few $100,000 or $130,000 in your rig and you were able to pull through, it's all up from here.
Where it'll get interesting is over there. Looks like it could get pretty steep. We'll see if the T50 can handle it.
You're worried about the terrain follow a little bit?
Yeah, very, very much. It's worse than the T40s is right now.
Just because you're having issues, but normally the T50, you trust it.
The first 2 weeks I flew the T50, it was excellent. I mean, far exceeded my expectations, but I don't know, is it the new software or what's causing it, but it just does not terrain follow the way it did.
Nice.
Far from it.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Doggone. Dennis, it felt like he was calling me every other hour with issues. Issues where I'm like, dude, I had issues. Do not kid yourselves. I've had issues with my drones. But like, we're talking, he had brand new T50 and he's saying that he's having this issue and that issue. I'm like, this does not make sense. This is a drone brand new out of the box. You know, he may have kept some things behind, like not in the story, like he partially crashed the T50 and now started having issues. But yeah, I was like, dude, you got to get this figured out because the amount of issues you're having is not normal.
Any issues? No things to have to deal with? Troubleshooting?
Nothing too major.
Nothing too major.
Adam let his batteries get a little wet this morning. Had a few little glitches with my T50 that we need to work out, but not too bad overall. It ended up spraying a lot and
Yeah.
did it fast, but we had
Terrain follow
flat land.
did pretty good. On these fields, there's a lot up and down, even though you can't see it from here.
Yeah, it didn't do too bad. I was afraid it would really struggle, but it did not do bad. Still not quite the way I like it, but it's not too bad. Got the job done.
The thing is about these issues is they're actually just small issues, but with the pressure that you have on needing to get these acres done, you just feel like this issue is massive. And it's like, it's really not that big of a deal. It's just the pressure that is on you as a pilot, knowing that you have to get these acres done. Well, how am I going to get the acres done if the drone isn't communicating properly or this or that? And so it's just amplified. It's not that it's actually that bad. It's just the pressure and the time crunch that you're on to get this stuff done.
Challenges with drones, stupid little software glitches. Like, not major enough to, send them back to the company that sells them, but just enough to, make you mad. Why is it doing that? Okay, so you restart it. Okay, problem solved. They are like a lot of technology products are. If they act up, just restart them. But when you're out in the field, super annoying.
So you're installing firmware for the 50. You restarted the remote on your 40. And what issue came up?
I restarted it because it wouldn't return to home the way it was supposed to. Then when I restarted it, it did not save any of my fields that I had sprayed. Like the in progress field is supposed to show up. It's not showing up properly. So might have to start over.
Oh man.
Glitches. Just not working the way it's supposed to.
But yesterday you didn't have any of these issues.
Oh, no, we had all kinds of issues, just different issues.
Different from this.
Yes. Different software glitches. The software is just so glitchy.
Talking about primarily the T40.
T40, yeah.
Man.
Their last update really screwed things up.
I think his issues that he seemed to have stemmed from pilot error because, maybe he crashed his drone and didn't tell anybody the full story. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Then everything else that kind of seemed to happen after maybe a big incident, it was always hard to tell, was everything being told here? And I think maybe some of his issues after the big incidents were more related to maybe the pilot error part of it. But, I'm just guessing here.
It was horrible, actually. That day was the worst day. So I thought I just had my T50 ready to go because I clipped the side of my trailer with the T50, broke a couple props. This was a few days prior. I swiftly and professionally maneuvered it behind my trailer to land it so I wouldn't put anybody in danger. And somehow during that process, behind the trailer, just before I disappeared I saw the wobble getting pretty bad, and the next thing, there were props flying in every direction, so I don't know exactly how it landed, but I went back and looked, and there was an arm broken, dangling. I'm like, how did I break an arm? I still do not know how I broke an arm, because there were no scratches anywhere on the arm. It was just broken. I have no idea. But anyway, I fixed that. So this is a couple days later, and I thought, great, this morning, this drone is ready to roll. I had sprayed with it a little bit the night before. This is my T50, my beloved T50, and this thing is getting acres done. And this morning I sent it out, and it's starting to spray, doing its thing. I sent the T40 out into another field, spraying beans. Great, beautiful morning. All of a sudden, my T50, I'm like, that thing is not terrain following right. Like, it's just kind of, and I'm watching a little bit, and the next thing I knew, that thing is in the beans. And it's just like, I saw it. I mean, it crashed hard, like not good. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this thing. And about then, I end up, it was the second crash. So that was the first crash, into the beans, and I bring the other drone back. I go out, I get the T50 going again. I change props, change a few parts, and get it flying again. Relatively soon, I had it flying again, and I'm kind of watching it, keeping an eye on it, and I'm spraying I have the T40 out again, spraying. All of a sudden, the T50 just, again, wham, right into the ground. And I'm like, what is going on with it? And I was watching it this time. I tried to save it. I'm pushing up on the stick. I couldn't do anything. Just plummeted into the ground. And I hear something on the other remote. And I look over, and all I see is beans going through the camera and boom, shutting off. Like nothing. Like the drone is dead. It's killed. Usually when you crash, you can still see, like, it doesn't shut the drone off unless it's really bad crash. And so you can still see the camera. This was so bad, the camera's like, they're cut out. So all I saw was beans. So now I have 2 drones on the ground. I'm like, what is happening? This is like 3 crashes now in about 20 minutes. Like, this is insane. And I had texted a picture earlier of the first crash, like not good or something like that, into our group text. In the meantime, yeah, Austin's John Deere was going haywire. I don't know what went wrong with over there, but yeah, there were crashes happening everywhere. And so I respond, I have 2 drones crashed in the field, something like that. And that's where Matt, I think, said, I'm staying in bed. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, not a good day. Not a good day at all.
I was laying in bed, didn't have any acres yet, and Dennis texts that he wrecked a drone. A couple minutes later, he says, I just put 2 more down. So I'm reading this, and then all of a sudden, Austin texts, he just wrecked a drone. And I'm sitting in bed. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go out today. Something's going on. There must be something in the air. All these drones are just going down. So I was kind of nervous that day about actually going out, and T-50s flew fine. I thought maybe there was some kind of, I don't know, interference or something going on, but it was just software issues for them.
Well, the reason that he had all these issues is it later was figured out that he, crashed his drone and he had a radar issue. But I just think that he was, rushing to get things done. We didn't have time to diagnose what the problem was. I'm sure there's people with worse luck than Dennis, but it just felt like it was one thing after the next, day after day.
We're changing the bushings in between, or tightening them up in between there. That way, I got a couple that I want.
His radar quit working properly after many other parts being replaced on the drone, and then later figuring out that it was the radar. He had so many small things that I'm going to let him explain some of the things that he was dealing with, because it was like, I didn't want to hear it anymore. It was, I don't know what to do. Like, just figure it out.
This is the first time you're changing them.
No, I changed most of these. This is actually the only prop that didn't have the newer style on.
Yeah.
But I was working on other stuff. Usually that's why I decided I'll just change those. But I ran out before I got to this one. So, yeah. But not that many. These things wear out like pretty constantly.
Yeah.
At this point, it seems like he fixed it, but honestly, I'm not going to hold my breath because he's probably going to call me tomorrow with something else again. So we'll see how it holds up.
So I got that one arm off, and your wife is bringing out the new arm.
Yep.
There was this one time that Dennis needed parts, and he needed them now. Like, when you need parts, you needed them yesterday. So he called me, and he's like, I need parts, and I need them to be ready for my wife to pick them up tonight. She's going to drive through the night to bring me the parts first thing in the morning, because it's a 6-hour drive. So we got the parts ready for him. His wife picked him up that evening. She drove through the night to Indiana, met him. She gets out of the car and takes the parts to Dennis, and Dennis starts putting this thing back together.
You just delivered parts for Dennis.
But I've been driving all night.
Yep.
And my dog locked himself in the car. Thankfully, it's running with AC, but...
That is amazing.
She goes back to the truck. Here, their dog was in the truck, locked the doors, cannot get in. Truck is running, air conditioning's running, but now they have 2 problems. Drone problem, truck being locked with dog stuck inside. Wife can't leave. She's out in the middle of nowhere in the hot sun. This guy, when issues... This guy has issues.
The obstacle avoidance setting they have, for some reason on the new software, that every time you change a battery, you got to go in and turn it on again. Like, how stupid is that? You got to go back into the settings, into the radar, turn the obstacle avoidance back on. Wow. Like, so dumb.
All right, guys, it was a horrible season. We actually only, after tallying everything up, we only did 22,000 acres, right around that. We were promised, or we were expecting 50,000 acres from the co-op based on prior seasons. But it was just a bad year for everyone.
12 foot high, we've got the droplet size at 300 microns, and we're flying at just below 34 feet swath width.
How many acres have you done today so far?
It's a good question, but probably around 150.
150?
Yeah.
So my goal for the 2024 season was to give each one of these teams 10,000 acres, which would give them enough to pay off their equipment in 1 month. That was my goal. But how horrible the season was, that didn't happen. So now the question is, what are these guys going to be doing in 2025?
No, it sucks.
If it gets worse, we're all
everybody's screwed. There was a little bit of disappointment.
The only thing was whenever the work started to slow down, and then we started just waiting on acres to come in.
I had 3 drones in the beans in about 45 minutes time.